And it is that time of the week again. What's good, universe? Welcome into your golf and golf betting brand of record. We call it DTL Golf. We go live every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're watching on demand, welcome to all of you as well. We are now heading into the month of June in the busiest time of the year on the entire PGA Tour schedule. We still have two majors to go. We have more signature events to go. We got the FedEx Cup playoffs coming up in August, but this week, it is the RBC Canadian Open coming back to the famed Hamilton Golf and Country Club. The last time the event was held here, Rory McIlroy was your winner in 2019. Let's bring in the stars of the show because we got a lot to talk about this week with three of the best minds in the business. Oh, the man with the big smile down right there. He is one of the best. He works for me at PGA Tour Live. He is the great Steve Scott. Steve, good afternoon, sir.
What is going on, everybody? What's going on in the chat? We got a great day. We're gonna give you some great ideas for some picks this week. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
I don't know. Everybody keeps listening to Big Cheese because FF says Coach picking Rory in 3, 2, and 1. I don't pick Rory that much. We talk about him because he was the winner last time here. Just drives me insane. Now, this man never drives me insane. He's the great Robert Damron. RD, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to everyone here. What's going on?
Not much. We're just feeling good. Being
nothing
positive.
Here.
And finally, he's one of the longest hitters in all of the world. He's Fast Eddie Fernandes. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon, boys. How are you? Good to be here. Sorry I missed last week, but always nice to see those fresh, smiling faces.
Well, we're feeling good today as we head into what we call the dog days of summer. And I'm going to start with you, Fast Eddie, because last week's winner was really your cup of tea. It came from the long shots section. 130 to 1. $100 bet would have won you $13,000 if you picked Davis Riley to get the job done. And I got to say that I thought on Sunday when the odds were even, they were even, plus 125 for Davis Riley, plus 125 for Scotty Scheffler, who was 4 shots back. I thought Scheffler was going to get the dub, but Davis Riley played a great round of golf. Got it done. How impressed were you with his job?
Super impressed. I think Davis kind of snuck into Scotty's body, and Scotty snuck into Davis's body. Kind of that's the way it looked. It was reversal of personalities, so to speak. I mean, David. I mean, how well did he play? Like we were talking before, he looked like he'd won 15 times on the PGA Tour. On that, he played awesome golf, and it was good to see him. I want to say that I would have picked him, but I wouldn't have just because he'd had a tough year. But golf is, as we all know on this show, golf is extremely difficult. And then you get one thing that can just pop your confidence off the charts. So.
Yeah, I called him. He lost the 2022 Valspar in a playoff. But this was his second PGA Tour win. But Steve Scott, as I come over to you, it was his first as an individual. He won the Zurich Classic with Nick Hardy. And we were talking about this on the show. If he would have even shot 1 under par, that meant Scotty Scheffler would have had to shoot a 65. And he did shoot a 63 on Saturday. But every way people were trying to spin it, they were like, Davis Riley can't get it done. I think that last round will do wonders in the future, the immediate future of Davis Riley. Do you?
I think confidence is everything in golf. And I mean, all you guys will back me up on that, I think. In all sports, really, you ride that wave. You're like a surfer. You're trying to find that big wave and just ride it as long as you can. And I think, in the back of your mind as a player like Davis Riley, when you haven't won an individual event, I think that's such a big negative in your mind. It's like, okay, I need to back that up. I need to prove myself. And I think that he definitely did. It was a venue that was a little definitely unfamiliar to the players overall. I mean, the corridors were the same, but Colonial Country Club was all redone by Gil Hance, and the golf course had some definitely some different nuance to it. A couple greens were completely rebuilt, and I think it really lent itself really well for a guy like that. And it was windy as anything. I mean, it was a hard day to really gain a lot of ground, but you could kind of just make a bunch of pars and kind of stay where you were. And that's what Davis Riley did.
And it was a beautiful thought process, RD, to what Steve's just saying. There were double bogeys around every single corner. And on a course that doesn't have a ton of water, doesn't have a lot of OB, that means there's a lot of other issues going on. And when you know that, if you put it in the fairway, middle of the green, that was a great game plan for Davis Riley. What did you make, and what do you think he can take away from that victory?
Well, not to ever take away from the New Orleans victory, but it was a team event, and it does leave that unsatisfied taste in the back of your mouth where you're going, well, yes, I got a PGA Tour win. You can never take it away from me, but it was a team event. This is an individual sport. So to get that off your back has to mean so much more. And again, I don't want to take away from that win because it's a big win, the team event, but it has to mean so much more individual because that's what we're used to. That's what we play for. New Orleans is kind of a one-off. It's a fun tournament. And if you happen to win, hey, great. That, all the perks that go with it. But this is an individual sport. And for Davis to play the way he did, and honestly, and we know Scotty's got a lot on his plate with the garbage that happened in Louisville and the great stuff that's happened at home with the new baby. But he looked like a guy that's never won, trying to force this win. And it was Davis that just played rock solid, steady, and played great. Scotty, much needed and deserved trip home this weekend for a nap.
Oh, I'll give him credit for playing in the tournaments anyway. He had a rare triple bogey at a 72 in the first round, and then steadily came back from there. And it kind of shows his greatness that even when he has his B- game, he was still in the final group on Sunday, which is amazing. Now, Davis Riley, he had a lot of perks when you talk about perks. He got the car to drive off. He got the jacket. He got the big check. He also solidified himself because he was outside of the top everything. And he only moved up to 55. That tells you how high he was. But now he gets every single event. He gets in all the majors. He doesn't have to worry about anything. Those are the perks that these players, they think about. All right, Rafael Esparza, my numbers guy. He is in the chat. If you have any questions for him, put them into the chat. He will answer them for you in real time. Now, gentlemen, let's spin it forward. Steve, I'm going to start with you because this is a very big week. And last year, at this event, RBC Canadian Open, in my opinion, it was not just the greatest finish of the year. It was the greatest finish I've seen in 10, 15 years. Nick Taylor, sudden death, over 60 feet, catch it. The place goes bananas. There hasn't been a repeat Canadian winner since 1913, 1914. It's been a minute. Your take on this week?
Yeah, I don't think that event was on ESPN Plus, was it? Pretty crazy stat right there. I mean, he was the first Canadian winner in 69 years to win his National Open. So kudos to him. When they changed the logo, by the way, of your tournament, because with the putter flip that he had on that fourth playoff hole there over Tommy Fleetwood, they changed the logo of the golf tournament for Nick Taylor. So it was a pretty special moment. One of our colleagues, Mark Zucchino, actually had a great call as well on PGA Tour radio. And when that putt went in, and it's raining, mind you, out there as well, but he's got umbrellas and all that. And there's this epic moment, and the ball goes in the hole, and he says, "The drought is over. The drought is over." And that was it. But pretty sweet moment for Nick Taylor, sweet moment for Canadian golf. Definitely one that will go down in the history books.
Yeah, courtesy Rafael, 70-1 Nick Taylor was last year, which meant a $100 bet would have won you $7,000 if you bet on him. And it's funny that he used the drought is over because we forget, RD, that the man that Nick Taylor beat was a man who's never figured out how to get in the winner's circle on the PGA Tour, and that is Tommy Fleetwood. We forget about that part of that whole scenario. Your take on this?
You are not wrong at all. Tommy Fleetwood is that player that everyone that knows him, that sees him play, knows that he's supposed to get a PGA Tour win. But guess what? So is Colin Montgomery. Colin was one of the best players I ever saw in my life, and he never got a PGA Tour win. It is not promised to anyone. That's the thing. Like, you see some guys like the way Scotty plays right now, and he seems to make it look easy. Winning a PGA Tour event is the furthest thing from easy. Trust me, I dedicated my life to this goofball game and got one of them squeezed out somehow, just out of sheer luck. So it's really, really, I don't want to say inevitable because I really feel like it's going to happen, but it is not a guarantee. But Tommy's so good, it would not shock me in the least if he came back a little bit revenge-minded this year. I kind of let that one slip through my fingers. Listen, as much of a hero as Nick Taylor is, Tommy should be just as much as a hero because he's the one that kind of let him win. He could have made a few things different and won the tournament himself. So, maybe the Canadians owe Tommy I don't know, a Dom Perignon or something.
I believe, if I remember correct, if he would have just played even par the last 3 or 4 holes, he would have won the tournament, if I remember exactly how it played out. By the way, Joey in the chat said, I will never forget that Fleetwood loss, Coach. I was on him winning. That had to hurt. That had to hurt if you're holding that ticket to watch that go in. And Fast Eddie, as I come over to you before we get into our picks for the day, Adam Hadwin said this today, and I quote, I will not forget to wear my credential this time. And that was the other part of the celebration, that a security guard thought Adam Hadwin, a PGA Tour pro, one of the top Canadians, was a fan and tackled him. And I don't know how he didn't break his ribs. But now all this attention, Fast Eddie, is on these Canadians, is on the President's Cup, is on everything about the RBC Canadian Open. How much pressure do you think that adds for the Canadians this week?
Yeah, I think Adam Hadwin's working on his juke move so he can kind of juke the security guards this year. But look, there's a lot of pressure. The President's Cup is there. Mike Weir is the captain. It's in their home country. So I think there's a lot.
All right, I think are we still good? I think Eddie, we lost Eddie there for a second. Thank goodness it wasn't me this time. It's always me.
me too.
Right.
Me too.
Yeah,
he's back.
Oh, sorry, guys.
He's fast. He is fast.
That was quick.
All set. Yeah, Fast Eddie.
He's fast.
Yes, there's a lot of pressure on the guys from Canada, but because they all want to play on the team. If you're Canadian, you play on the PGA Tour. You want to play representing your country in the international team on the President's Cup, and I think they really want it bad. If you don't, there's something wrong with you. But all these guys really want it to play in their home country in front of their home fans. And I might have a pick or two of the Canadians this week, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun day.
Right.
Looking forward to the show.
All right. Well, if anybody watched Full Swing, they saw what Zach Johnson had to go through to call Keegan Bradley last year and tell him he was not going to make the Ryder Cup team. I would not want to be Mike Weir and have to call a Canadian when guaranteed there will not be another President's Cup during their lifetime, most certainly during their prime where they could play on it. This is it. This is a one and done. That's how much pressure is on them to get on this team this particular year. All right, gentlemen, we got 5 categories here on DTL Golf. And if you think that I don't see all of you in there teasing me about last week, anything, I gave you like 8 winners over the weekend. But all you guys can focus on is Max Homa having one bad round and Colin Morikawa playing decent. That's all right. I'm not even going to acknowledge that. I was such a pro on PGA Tour Live, despite the fact I cashed all those tickets for you. But I'm not going to do that for you this week. Just because of that, I'm going to take it away. And I'm also going to do this because I know it's going to drive you nuts. RD, I'm starting with you. And I want you to start with the name that I'm staring at right at the top for first round leader because it's going to grind everybody in the chat. Who do you think? Oh, there it is. There it is. Who's going to be at the top come Thursday night, big boy? Let's start there.
He's so much the best player in the field. It's not that strong a field that you just can't take it away from him. And plus 1,400 at 14-1 is not great odds for a first round leader. But this guy plays so well in Canada. Something about the exchange rate just makes him all excited up there. And I think that, I'm certainly not going to drop any amount of money on this guy on the first round lead that is going to set me back. But listen, I think that 14-1 for Rory McIlroy in this tournament is just pretty darn good odds overall. He's been playing great. Even PGA played pretty good after all the stuff with his personal life was going on. And Scheffler and his arrest, that took so much press off of Rory. It kind of relaxed him a little bit too. So I wouldn't surprise me in the least to see him right there in round one, or frankly, go wire to wire with this thing as he's done before. And then also Taylor Pendrith. You've got a Canadian. You've got a guy that is, this is my theory in these first round leaders, to go low one round, you just got to make putts. Taylor Pendrith is 13th in putting this season. Now, he also is coming off a pretty solid victory in Dallas not that long ago. And you say, any barking dog can win that tournament in Dallas. You know, anybody can do that. You don't even you could not even know one end of the club to the next. But you know, it can happen. I think that kind of thing is just what he needed. Get his ball striking and his confidence, everything rolling. Taylor Pendrith at 60-1 to lead that first round.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you flex without really flexing. That is how it's done.
Love it.
That is how it's done right there. Now, I absolutely love that's next level kind of stuff right there. All right, let me come over to you, Fast Eddie, because you agree on one name with RD, and then you also the guy that last year when he came in was red hot. A lot of people picked him, and then he lost in sudden death. And you think Fleetwood could do it again? Give me these two.
Hey, guess what? Colin Montgomery doesn't have a picture like that, does he, RD? Yeah,
a lot of European ones. Not
hey,
like
you got something on Colin. So, but yeah, I am on the Tommy Fleetwood bandwagon this week. I've done a lot of research. He has been rock solid the last 30 days, plus 3,500 first round leaders. You know, every category in strokes gained is really high in the positives. He is going to get his first PGA Tour win this year. I would not be surprised if it's this week. The last 30 days, he's been playing great. Taylor Pendrith, same thing, plus 6,000. He's only one of 3 players in the field with at least a positive 2 strokes gained total. Last 5 events, he missed the cut at the PGA. 10th, win the Byron Nelson. 11th. So the last 4 out of the last 5 events, he's finished in the top 11 with a win. You know, sits 14th in the President's Cup standings, and a good finish this week could be a massive boost to have Mr. Weir pick him. And who knows, maybe he might be holding the trophy on Sunday.
I absolutely think that how the Canadian players handle the pressure this week, Mike Weir will look at those, especially those not in the automatic 6. Those are in 6 to 15. I think he's going to look at this week. I like that analysis. By the way, Joe says, I would like your first round matchups, coach, since they won last week, as did my second round matchups too, Joe. But here's what's going to happen before I come to Steve. Because you guys are going to have to, if you want me to give out first round plays on tomorrow's morning show and on Thursday's morning show, then you have to talk your leader, Big Cheesy, to say something nice about me in the chat. And if he refuses to do it, then you will get nothing from me when it comes to first round and second round head-to-heads, which, as we all know, I'm the best on planet Earth at. So, Big Cheesy, it's up to you. Do you want to handle the chat? Do you want to take care of everybody? Or do you want to be selfish? It's up to you. So, Steve Scott, I will start by saying something nice about you. I think you look great. I think you're one of the smartest golf men that I've ever encountered in my life. And I think picking a guy that played from Dallas last week and moving to Canada, where he doesn't like the food like he does in America, is a very, very smart play. That's something nice about you, Steve Scott. Now you can explain yourself.
There's some good food up there around Toronto now. I mean, you know, they got Tim Hortons up there. I mean, that's the greatest donut shop anywhere in my mind.
That it is.
Yeah, he's got a little, and Tom Kim's got a little pouch on him too. You know, he's maybe had a donut or two recently, but he's got a guy on his bag this week. Tom Kim, he's my first round leader guy, and so I want you to think about back in 2019, and Paul Tesori caddied for Webb Simpson for many, many years. Webb Simpson tied for second here in 2019. Got some good history on this golf course, understands the nuances, and this is not a venue that they come back time after time after time. So having somebody with some past history, I mean, McIlroy's a great pick this week, and somebody who's got a little bit of history around here like Paul Tesori with Webb, I think is really good. And, you know, the thing with Tom Kim, and I'm not going to put him in the winners category just yet by any means, but he is, because he's just has not had put 4 straight rounds together. But I think he can do it in the first round. He's in the morning wave of the starting times as well, which I think is always beneficial for less wind and smooth greens. I think that will be a very good thing for Tom Kim. So jump on him at 40 plus 4,500.
To your point, he was right in the mix for a top 10 last week. And what did he do on Sunday? Plus 4.
Yeah.
Coming home.
He's just up and down.
4 together.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really, really is. By the way, Raphael agrees with you, Steve Scott. Tim Hortons coffee is great in capital letters. So that's really, every time I used to land in Toronto or Montreal or Halifax or Edmonton or Calgary, that's the first thing you see. Usually a dirty airport and then a Tim Hortons on the way out. Always. No offense to your dirty airports. All right, now, our bread and butters, if you're talking about a full unit, say you're a $100 better, this is where you should put $100 full. The first-round leaders, maybe a quarter. Like RD said, don't let it affect your bankroll on a first-round leader. It's too difficult. So this is where you want to put your money. So, RD, let me come over to you because I thought I saw a pattern, but then one of your fades is a Canadian. So I can't wait to hear these three explanations. You're up.
Yeah, one is a Canadian. I did take Cameron Young over Corey Connors. I think that you've got the double pressure, and I'm kind of going against myself because you've got, Pendrith I bet on, but I think Corey Connors is a little more in the spotlight with that double pressure of the National Championship and President's Cup coming up. He's one that the players would expect and the fans would expect to be on the team over maybe a Pendrith or a Mackenzie Hughes or someone like that. And so I think there might be a little extra pressure put on him. And Cameron Young is a slight underdog, plus 100. He's a slight underdog on this bet. So I like on a U.S. Open style course, a big hitter, big, strong guy. The rough's going to be deep. It's a little bit wet out there. I know they had a lot of rain on Monday. So, I did. I kind of just, man, maybe I'm just going with my gut on this one and knowing the pressure of being there. And maybe that's why there were 69 years between Canadian winners. So, yeah, I did. I'm taking Cameron Young over Corey Connors. But then look at this. Nick Taylor over Ryo Hisatsuni. Now, okay, who in their right mind put the defending champion at even money over Ryo Hisatsuni? Nothing against him.
Crazy.
He's missed 4 of his last 8 cuts. He's got a grand total of 0 top 10s on the season. Nick Taylor is not only defending champion, he won in Phoenix. He's one of the best putters out there on the PGA Tour. And the guy's got cojones, obviously, doing what he did last year and making the putts he made against Charlie Hoffman to win in Phoenix. So when I saw this one, that one is one of those that jumped off the page. And then I had to go with Taylor Pendrith. Byron Nelson, champion over Aaron Rai. Taylor, again, great putter. We know that. But at Byron Nelson, the ball striking finally started catching up. He's been playing very nicely. I also like Aaron Rai. I don't want to bet against him a whole lot. He's one of those sneaky, solid players that top 10s and 15s quite a bit. But, after, again, just kind of toying with the which way am I going to go, looking at Pendrith as an underdog, I kind of felt like I like those odds over Aaron Ryan. Taylor Pendrith, coming in hot. So I'm liking all three of these. You thought I was going to go Canadian, but I had to fade one of them. Hedge my bet is what I did over there, putting one Canadian in the doghouse.
Sometimes you're such a genius, RD. You don't even realize.
I don't know it.
When you educate and entertain the audience. You don't even realize what you've done. Here's what RD has done. So the Nick Taylor hits the city. This is when sportsbooks, and this is why I recently told one, you need to bring me in to help me with your golf. Because this is when sportsbooks, they look at numbers and they look at finishes and not where they finish. They don't look at the field, none of that. And that's how they come up with this number. And this is such a mismatch that RD found. It's not even close.
Yeah. For
a tournament matchup, for this to be even money is bananas. Absolute banana land. So you got to do your homework, or you got to listen to guys like RD or Steve Scott or Fast Eddie. This is a mission. This is free money. That's what we call this. Free money. By the way, Moshe says, I'm going to Toronto this weekend. Any suggestions, highlights? Moshe, depends. I don't know how old you are, but if you're in your 20s, government and the bar. If you're not, don't go anywhere near those. Goes out somewhere near the Sky Dome where the Blue Jays play. Tons of great bars around there. That's where we had WrestleMania 18. I never left a 3-block radius, and I was out every single night. So there you go. Stay around the Sky Dome. All right. Now, Fast Eddie, let me come over to you. Because you're either going to have a really great week or you're going to have a really bad week because you're stacking your guys in every category. Talk to me here.
I agree 1,000% with RD. Taylor Pendrith plus 105 is an underdog. Aaron Rai. Look, everything I mentioned about him, everything that RD just said, I'm not going to regurgitate it, but he's been so solid the last month. He's a half a shot better than Rai per round the last month. I'll take the 2 shots and take Pendrith all day long over the course of 4 days. And Rye's putter has been a little balky, so I love Pendrith over Aaron Rye. And Tommy Fleetwood, I just have a feeling this week he's playing so well, and I love Thigala. I think he's an incredible player, incredible young player. I think we forget how young he really is. But, Tommy, it's Tommy's week, and I'm like you said, I'm either going to have a great week or I'm going to have a really bad week, because it's just for the research I've done, I love these 2 guys, especially Fleetwood, and then Pendrith over Rye was a no-brainer for me.
I would just have a really hard time personally betting against the Gala. Only reason you pointed, he's young, he's hungry, and when a lot of these guys play 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 weeks, I want a guy that is young and hungry, and that's what he is. Because a lot of guys are playing a lot of weeks in a row right now, and they have to. The new schedule, the top 70, all of that. So also look at guys that might be tired, because of all of these big tournaments stacked together.
10 weeks left.
Past Eddie, thank you very much.
Yeah.
What's that?
10 weeks left, I believe. 10 or 11 weeks left in the season, I believe.
I think that's it. 2 majors. You still have 2 more signature events next week. This will be the last week that you could. I'm sorry, what, Eddie?
I said it went by like that. The season.
Oh, it did. You're absolutely right. My apologies. All right. So, Steve Scott, let me come over to you, because as we talk about the 10 weeks from Eddie and we look at this is the last week that we can qualify to get into the Memorial. We've got the U.S. Open on the rise. You have targeted 3 different kinds of players. Love to hear this analysis.
Well, in all my picks this week, it's all about great putting. I think putting is going to be the separator here. This golf course is just a shade over 7,000 yards. It's only 117 yards longer than it was back when Rory McIlroy won in 2019. So this golf course is very short. The average course on the PGA Tour, it's about 7,300 yards is the average distance. This one, again, just over 7,000. So it's going to be more of a putting contest this week. I'm very, very much committed to that. Mark Hubbard, -110 over Ben Griffin. Hubbard has played very consistently recently. He's made 15 straight cuts. He's a wonderful putter, top 40 in accuracy on the PGA Tour off the tee as well. There's going to be some rough around here at Hamilton. So it's going to be a golf course. You got to keep it in play a little bit. There's going to be some thick bluegrass rough that can really gobble up the golf ball. So I like guys, though, overall who can drive it pretty well, but most importantly, who can roll the rock. Number 2, Nick Taylor. Nick Taylor, we've got him. I mean, that's just like you said, a banana land sort of pick right here. Pick him and bet the whole farm on it on that one. I think Alex Noren, right? I mean, Nick Taylor. I mean, he's 30th in the official world golf ranks. He leads all Canadians right there. And he said soon he's a very solid player. There's no crummy players on the PGA Tour, but this one definitely a mismatch. Alex Noren over Tommy Fleetwood. Noren's made 17 cuts in a row, 8 straight top 25s, and he's first in scrambling. He's a grinder, too. He grinds on the range all day, all night. He's got that funny, silly move that with his shoulders that we've seen. He's very, very consistent like that. Tommy Fleetwood he's been a little inconsistent, and it's not necessarily because of him. He's had some caddy issues. His normal caddy, very tall man, Ian Finnis, who's about 6'7", has undergone heart surgery in the last 4 weeks or so. And so he has not been on the bag for a little while for Tommy. Tommy's had some kind of substitute caddies here and there, but not a steady sort of feel in Tommy Fleetwood's world. I think that's going to play into it a little bit. So that's why I'm fading Fleetwood this week and going for Noren.
That's a great storyline. I don't think we focused enough. I talked a lot last week about the merry-go-round that has been caddies with players and changing players, and I think a lot of it is just the prize money's so big. Guys want to be with the biggest stars. I recently did an interview on a random podcast, and Steve, they asked me, what's the one player that is so far under the radar and nobody ever picks him? And I said Alex Noren. This guy is a cash cow every single week, and I don't know why we don't pick him more. So I'm glad that you had him this week.
Alex is a wonderful putter too, by the way.
It is on all greens, right? Real quick, where do you guys get most of your head-to-heads? I know I get them at DraftKings. Eddie, you?
DraftKings. DraftKings.
DraftKings. Yeah. BetMGM, if you're watching, you know what we talked about. We need to work on the golf offerings. We need to work on the golf. We can help you. We can help you.
Know people.
We will. Joe,
we know people. Show up the picture.
We are people. We are people.
Yeah, we got your back.
PGA Tour winner on this school.
We got a PGA Tour winner, damn it. We got a man that went against Tiger Woods. You got a world champion. What else do you want? What else do you want? You got a former tag team champion of the world right here. We're all title holders. It's true. And I lost it. Where? Does anybody know where I lost my tag team title?
Toronto?
No.
Oh,
It was in
okay.
Canada, however.
Oh.
Winnipeg.
Oh.
Thank you guys for knowing your host history. Winnipeg.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was in Canada. So you guys
Where
are
the
close.
state bird is the
Toronto.
mosquito.
No, it wasn't Toronto.
Yes.
The state bird of Winnipeg
Is the mosquito.
is the mosquito.
Yeah.
You
They're
didn't
like
know
that
that.
big.
I didn't even know Winnipeg was a state. I thought it was a city.
It's a
It's a province.
city in Manitoba.
It's a
Manitoba's the
Or it's-
province.
well, yeah, whatever.
That's true.
Yeah.
Winnipeg,
Yeah.
Manitoba.
I'm gonna keep
Canada.
it
That's
south
true.
of the border. Yeah, there we go.
All right, let's move on to category number 3. Thank you, Raphael. Give him a call for me. All right, this is the finishing position. That's what we tell you to dial it back just a little bit because we saw it last week. My goodness, we'd have a top 5 turned into a top 10, turned into a miscut like that. This week could be more of the same. So, RD, let me come over to you. You're sticking in the top 10 category here. What do you like?
Yeah, I just felt like a little more comfortable in that top 10. And I'm seeing some guys that are really kind of showing up a little more often on leaderboards. Tom Kim was playing pretty miserable the first half of the year, but he is sneaking back into that form. Not great form, but good form and creeping in that direction of good form. He's made his last 6 cuts. 3 of those have been inside the top 25. He was playing well last week, a bad last round. And then you've got that added confidence, like Steve said, of his caddy, Paul Tesori, having a near win here, knowing the course. So all good there at plus 350. And Bobby McIntyre, 13th at Myrtle Beach, opposite field, but 8th at the PGA. Very good driver of the ball. There's been a slew of missed cuts here too. So he's been a little bit sink or swim, but that's why we're betting the top 10, and that's why we're getting plus 650. He's been really getting ready to go at certain tournaments, and he disappears for a while, and then he shows up and disappears for a while. I think that plus 650 is plenty good numbers to bet on him showing up this week.
All right. I absolutely love that. Sometimes I'd rather have somebody that finishes high and then misses cuts as opposed to top 28s every single week. By the way, Turtle Man says BetMGM is already pretty good for golf. No dead heat rules. We're talking head-to-heads. Go look right now and then come back and talk to me, Turtle Man. It's not good. But I'm not talking out of school. I told them this. We can all get better, but we can all do it together. That's what I want. I'm not criticizing them. I want them to use us. Now, Eddie Fernandes, let me come over to you because you've really surprised me this week because you've kind of gone outside of the box. And I'm excited to see if you come through here. For these 2 names, you're going top 20, top 10, and one is one of those Canadians that wants desperately to play well.
Yes. 14th, Mr. Hughes, 14th at Hamilton at 2019. He's putting phenomenally. And if he wants to make the President's Cup team, he's going to have to play well this week. I think he's going to. He's had 2 top 6 finishes on the PGA Tour in the last 6 events. He missed a cut at the PGA, but, it's either like he's in the top 10 or he's not. So I like Mackenzie Hughes to play well this week. Plus 360, I thought was a decent number for a top 10. And Eric Van Rooyen, super solid golf swing. Plus 450 top 10, plus 210 top 20. He finished 20th here in 2019, 5th in strokes gained putting in this field the last month. 3 top 10s in his last 9 events. He's just a rock solid player, as Steve and RD have seen him when they're on property at tour events. He's just really good ball striker. 48th in the FedEx Cup standing. So he's having a nice year, and a good week this week could maybe put him in the top 30, 35, 30, really position himself for the Tour Championship.
Oh, I love it. So many different avenues, and I love the numbers too. And remember, if you're going to do some work at home, remember, go back to 2019. This event is not played on the same course every single year. That matters. So go back to the last year, which was 2019, Hamilton, and that's where he gets some of these stats. Thank you, Fast Eddie. Now, Steve Scott, let me come over to you because you're always educating us so very well. And last week, he didn't win, but he showed me a lot. And to get this guy at plus 190 for a top 40, yes. I'm here for it. Let's start with Mr. Cootie.
Yeah, Mr. Cootie right here. Yeah, tied for 5th last week. I like these guys in this top 40 market that are trending. And think about this. If you're new to the golf betting world, you think about the top 40. It gives you just a lot more margin for error. That's it. And, we know that head-to-heads are our bread and butter. Picking winners is almost impossible. Top 40, you can do top 40. And with a plus 190 number for a guy who's trending like this, on a golf course, it's not really too dissimilar to the one they played last week in a way. It's not very long. There's some dogleg holes, and it's kind of a course that has actually been redone just a little bit as well, like Colonial was. So, I mean, I think Cootie, I think he'll be he could be really good this week. And top 40, I think, is very, very attainable for Pearson Cootie. So go for that if you so desire. Top 20 for Tom Kim. We talked about him. He's got lots of good skills going on, and he is trending really well. He's right there on the cusp of doing something really solid. And kind of like you said, there's about 10 events left in the season. It's time to get it going. So Tom Kim, he's going to hop on that little choo-choo train and ride it right into the station. Top 10 also here for Adam Scott, plus 330. And last week I noticed he jumped up 24 spots in strokes gained putting. He's had 4 top 25s this season. Last week he was tied for 12th. So he's trending very well. We know he's got the beautifully sexy golf swing, great clothing, apparel. He's just a smooth guy all around. And now his putting is starting to trend very well. So Adam Scott, I like him. He's my cousin from down under. I got to pick him.
Are you trying to compare your looks to Adam Scott right there at the end?
Not at all. I did beat him once in my life, but that was when we were like probably 7 years old. But no, but
you're going with the last name. You're going with the last name. I see what you're saying.
With the last name.
So we always talk about. Gotcha. Okay, I was going somewhere different there. Yeah. Now let me ask you this, Steve, because we talk about motivation on this show all the time. And for Adam Scott, he is highly motivated this week. Do you know why?
Do I know why? I'm not sure I know why you know why, but I mean, I'm not sure why. Tell me why.
Did you just say you don't think I know why?
I know. I don't know. I don't know. Just tell me why.
So, Adam Scott has played a ridiculous number of majors in a row. He still believes that he has another major in him.
That's.
Do you know that he is not yet into the U.S. Open?
Yeah, he's played like 91 straight majors. That's right.
Correct.
He's going for he's just outside that world ranking, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So he wants to play in the U.S. Open, and he's even talked about going to like the final qualifier and all of that. But if he can play well this week, then he can slide in and not have to do that. So he's highly motivated to back up everything you just said. Yeah. Look at me doing a little homework.
Nice little nugget there, Coach.
That was pretty good. You are the coach. You coach us so well. So thank you.
Thank you. By the way, I always appreciate you guys showing up on time because another member of the crew, DG, never does. But everybody, DG loves himself some golf. He goes, hey, the guys are all back together. Yes, I know I'm late, always. If you have any questions for Daniel Greer, put him into the chat. But just wait 5 or 10 minutes till we're off the air, and then he'll still be in here all by himself because that's what he does. But now we got 6 crew members on one show, all dedicated to the cause. Thank you, DG, for nothing. Now, it's time to pick a winner. As Steve Scott just said, it is damn near impossible. But when you do, it sure does feel good. So, RD, let me come over to you. You found what I like to call the sweet spot. Anywhere from plus 1,500 to plus 3,000, I believe can be good value, especially in a field like this one. Start with your 2.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy is out on this one. His odds were way down, under 4 to 1. I think the last time I saw it, this is not good enough odds for a Rory McIlroy in this kind of thing, especially with the turmoil going on. But I picked a couple guys that we have already mentioned. One of them, we've talked a lot about Fleetwood, and maybe he's the best player in the world without a win on the tour. No, maybe Alex Noren is the best player on the tour without a win. This guy has been rock solid. He does have 8 straight top 25s, as Steve Scott mentioned. He does make putts from all over the place. And also, like I said, just riding a really good stretch. And it's not just top 25s. There have been a smattering of top 10s and even contend for wins in there, including in the PGA. And then Sahith Theegala. The youth, the power this guy's got, the putter. He's 5th in strokes gained putting. A national championship like this is just the thing to get a young guy going. He's also playing very well, trending the right direction. And like you said, right in the sweet spot, plus 1,800, plus 2,200.
He did an interview when I believe it was the PGA Tour, one of the recent tournaments, and this is why I'm going to pick Theegala moving forward, probably almost every single week. He said a lot of people are pissed off that Scottie Scheffler is winning every single week. You know how I look at it? I need to get better. I need to play better. So I like it. And when I have somebody with an attitude like that, that's going to go out there and look the number one player in the eye and say, I need to be better. I need to beat you. That's the kind of guy I want to lean into. And just like RD does this week. Now, Eddie Fernandes, look at you, big boy. I don't even know how good that Shane Lowry pick is, but I'd love you to start there. And I'm all ears to hear your analysis because it's a really, really good one. Talk to me.
Yeah, just a lucky guess, This guy, Lowry, finished 2nd in 2019 here at Hamilton. So he's 10th in the FedEx Cup, turned his year around in Palm Beach at the Cognizant. And from that point on, the last 9 events, 4 top 6s, and one of those a win with Mr. McIlroy in New Orleans, gaining almost a stroke and a half on the field over the last month. Look for him to play really, really well this week. He obviously loves this golf course. And then, like I said before, like you said, Coach, I'm either going to have a great week or I'm going to have a horrible week. I got Mr. Fleetwood plus 1,600, 3rd, 7th, 13th, the last 5 events. He's due. 2nd last year at this tournament, obviously with that unbelievable finish. He's firing on all cylinders. I love, his strokes gained stats. They're all very positive. He's too good not to win. And like RD was saying, Montgomery never won on the PGA Tour, but I think Tommy is going to win, and he's going to win soon. And then Alex Noren, like I think Robert said, or Steve said, or you said, Coach, he's a guy no one really talks about. At plus 2,200, he's in the same boat as Fleetwood. He is so good and so solid. He's 2nd among this group of players this week in strokes gained total, and he is just ready to. I think he's going to break through. Him or Fleetwood, or these 3 picks. I really love these picks that I've done the research on, and I think they're going to have good weeks.
He's what I like to call a cash stacker. Makes every single cut. Never hear from him on Sunday. T7. You're like, how the hell did he get there? Yeah. There's another 300 grand. There's another 400 grand. Now, Steve Scott, back up Mr. RD's Theegala pick, sir.
I just love the guys who can putt great. That's number one. I think that's going to be such a huge factor this week. Theegala is just he just freewheels it when he plays golf. I think that's a great hallmark to his game. He loves to hit that power fade kind of every single time. He fades his driver more than his irons. I guess his irons he likes to hit a little bit more right to left, but he plays golf very instinctively, very naturally. I really like that. And the guy who can play, like that is going to be really good. But what I noticed when I looked at the list this week, I noticed so many players who they're just not going to win. I mean, I was going down the list. I was trying to pick some value. I was trying to pick somebody, and I'm just like, I need to stick towards the top this week because there's just a few stars, and then there's kind of the lesser known players who I just don't see them winning. And I'm not going to go on name them, but you can look through the list. But Sahith Theegala, who has won this year, right? They're just not going to win. You saw it too, right? You're like, how's this guy going to beat Rory? How's this guy going to beat Sahith? Like there's no chance. So Theegala is a great guy this week. I think you got to stick towards the top this week with your picks. I don't see too far down the list. Too many of those underdogs really going to be holding that trophy by the end of the week.
I'm so glad that you just said that because so many times on shows or with opinions, people are like, oh, we want to give everybody a chance. the bottom line is when you get to 10 weeks to go, you got the top guys that want to get to the top of the FedEx Cup. They're going to play for $20 million. They are not holding back. And the best usually rises to the top around this time of year. Thank you for saying that, Steve Scott.
Yeah.
We don't need to sugarcoat everything. By the way, raise your hand if you want to take this one. Noren over Burns at -125 tournament matchup. Anybody have a thought on that one?
Burns' new
I like
dad
Noren over Burns. Hasn't been playing that good.
I was just
I
going to
like
say
it.
too much lately.
Agreed. I like it. I like Noren. I like Noren over Burns with what he's got going on in his personal life. So I would like that bet.
Him and Scotty Scheffler had a baby the same week. How weird is that?
Too much, yeah.
You got wives planning babies the same week? Yeah, same week. And they're best friends. Best friends having babies same week.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Interesting.
All right. Raphael says, I'm calling it now. Winner of the RBC will be plus 2,500 or higher. But doesn't list a name. Way to go out on a limb, Raphael. Way to go out on a limb.
He is a numbers guy, but you got to throw a name. You can't just throw numbers. Throw a name attached to it.
Quite the prediction. All right. Now, I've been toying with renaming this last category the Fernandes. Been thinking about it. Because this is where Fast Eddie just simply shines. And last week, Steve Scott already picked Pearson Coody in another category. He was tied with one of your two long shot picks, and they both went backwards, just like everybody else did on Sunday. But through 54 holes, my man was solid. Give me your two long shots to keep an eye on this week.
Man, I love CT Pan and Hayden Buckley. They, they're very similar players. Looking at their history this year and last year, they're either missing cuts, they're trunk slamming, or they're finishing top 5 or 10. So I think they'd both be good bets to ladder top 5, top 10, top 20, even top 40 if you can get a number. Hayden Buckley finished tied for 5th last week, and he's plus 18,000. I would throw a little cheese on that one. No, a little pun to Big Cheesy, but he putted the eyes out of it. He made so many putts last week. A really good putter. CT Pan, it's just funny how sometimes it just clicks. As we all know, it just like confidence is just a crazy thing. You get one swing thought, you make one thing, and then all of a sudden you're Tiger Woods out there. So, but yeah, I would ladder both of them.
Eddie, part of the reason he's plus 18,000 is I think he's only made 5 out of 14 cuts, if my memory serves me correct. So he hasn't played well, but he's playing better lately, and that's what we try to lean into.
5th last week. I mean, I like that confidence going into. You got to ride. Like who said it? I think RD said you got to ride. No, Steve, you got to ride the wave.
You got to ride the wave, baby.
Ride the wave,
I don't know how many tournaments you can shoot over par, start at 3rd, shoot well over par, and still finish in the top 5. That's how hard Sunday was at Colonial. It was really hard. The wind was brutal. All right. Now, RD, you picked a guy that if a feeling, if a vibe can do anything, he was standing there around the 18th green waiting for his good buddy to finish winning last week. So maybe this week could be the week for Nick Hardy. Why don't we start with him?
That is exactly what I was thinking. It is his buddy. It is the first individual win for Davis Riley, who is that team event with Nick Hardy, of course. Nick Hardy's one of those guys. There are no bad ball strikers on the PGA Tour, not really, but he's one of those guys. When he hits it, it just sounds different. He just crushes it, hits it good and solid. Hasn't had a great year this year, but those kind of vibes at plus 15,000, man, let's do it. That's a heck of a bet for a long shot. I just like that kind of symmetry where the teammates would win back-to-back weeks. And then Ryan Fox, a player that just rarely gets talked about. He hasn't played great on PGA Tour so far, but this guy is a stud. He did finish 4th at Myrtle Beach, 32nd last week, was all right, but he's got 17 professional victories, including 4 on the DP World Tour. So a proven winner, another good, solid, strong as a bull golfer who could go out there and dominate any given week. And like I said, you get in there, get in the mix, smell blood. This guy knows how to win.
And he is bull-legged too. He's the type of guy that wears jeans that you bring to the member, and you don't really know who it is, and goes out there and beats the tail off everybody. And go, oh, I didn't know any. I call him the everyman because he looks like every man until he beats your ass on the golf course because he's that good. All right, Steve Scott, let me come over to you. You got a plus 9,000 ticket and a plus 13,000 ticket. Explain yourself.
And all these tickets, they actually tie into my man Daniel Greer in the chat right there. He asked what my significance of my shoes back here. And, you see the logo on them. There's a big swoosh right there. And the players in this category right here for my long shots, Bo Hossler and Matt Kuchar, you know what? They when they putt, their ball hits the bottom of the hole. It's like swoosh. They make every putt. They are great putters, both in the top 15 in strokes gained putting. And so I think that's a huge factor. I said at the beginning, I'm going to say at the end, you got to roll putts in on these shorter golf courses. It becomes more of a putting contest. And so Bo Hossler, this man can roll his potato like no other. Just really, really solid. Matt Kuchar is 161st in the FedEx Cup rankings. He doesn't want to miss towards the end of this season and miss out on the playoffs. And this is the type of golf course that's going to be able to fit him. And I think he's got an RBC logo on his sleeve as well. Maybe he can do something for the home sponsor here. He jumped 21 spots also last week in strokes gained putting up to this week. So he's trending well with the flat stick. And if you can get the ball rolling a little bit, build some confidence, you never know. He sometimes just pops out of nowhere and does something good. So throw a little sprinkle on him at plus 13,000.
I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. These are the three best minds in the business, and it's not close. And you better get it here because we're getting ready to expand. I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time. Now, for all of you who thought that Big Cheesy's saying that I'm leaning up with my intermittent fasting and everything, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. It's going to have to be stronger than that for you. But we got 24 hours. Or I may not give out any round picks. I'll give them out to my friends. I'll text my friends, but not all of you. No. Your leader stepped over the line today. We'll see what happens in the next 24 hours. Now, we end every single show with my guys giving 15 or 20 seconds on their final thoughts heading into this week. And this week is the RBC Canadian Open. RD, let's start with you. Final thoughts.
Coach, I've showed this picture a couple times. One thing you haven't seen, look at the logo on my shirt there. Do you see it? That was before there was a BetMGM, but I was such a visionary at that time that I could just see this match made in heaven. Let's get the team back together, guys. Golf, DTL Golf, BetMGM, great things can happen.
It has a great, great ring to it, and we may be closer than you think. But I appreciate you looking at. You're a marketing genius, absolute marketing genius. All right, also a marketing genius. Fast Eddie, let's go over to you. Final thoughts.
That's just too good, man. That is too good. I think it's going to be Fleetwood or Noren. I really think that they're playing really well. I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to see how the Canadians play this week. Home country. President's Cup in 3 months, 3.5, 4 months. So it's going to be, and there's a lot of pressure, like we talked about before, lots and lots of pressure on these guys. But if they, and they all want it bad, so we'll see how they perform, and hopefully the Canadians fare well. But I think it's Fleetwood or Noren this week.
All right. Well, DG said RD is so awesome, as is Fast Eddie. We wrap things up with my man Steve Scott. Your final thoughts, sir.
This is a national open. I mean, who does not want to win a national open? This is such a big week. You're going to win a big trophy. You're going to get your name in the history books forever in a national championship like this. This is very cool. And it's really, right ahead of the United States Open as well. So you could win a couple national championships right here in the next few weeks on the PGA Tour. So a very cool portion of the year. And I've just got to ask you, RD, I think that I heard that Byron Nelson had you as one of his long shots that week. Was that true or not?
He did. Excellent picker of long shots. He probably taught Eddie Fernandes a thing or two about picking those long shots because he could do it.
He did. We went to high school together. We used to the seventh period, 1937.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It's all coming together here, right here. Yes, it's good.
It truly is. It truly is. If I could get one of those shirts with the logo, I mean, I would treasure that. I would actually wear it here on the show, RD. If you had a couple of those left, they look amazing. As always, my guys are the absolute best. You guys are the best for taking the time in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon to hang out with us as we continue to try to get a little bit better, become smarter golf fans, and a little bit smarter golf bettors. And we continue to try to grow every single week, but we can't do without you. So thank you very much. Shout out to DG and Raphael for coming in the chat, members of the crew, and shout out to my guys. And understand this is now time for you to go out into the world, for you to pay it forward, and understand you have until Thursday morning to get all of these picks in, and understand there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these DTL golf tickets. BetMGM. Let's get on the phone one more time. Straight to the pay window. My Tiger Lobo. Fast Eddie Fernandes. My man Steve Scott. RD. He's so awesome. And never forget about producer man, always behind the scenes, making the show look like $1 million. I am simply the coach, trying to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's what we're all about right here at DTL Golf. Good luck.